What was the rudest thing a visitor did in your house? Came to visit for a few days with her infant and placenta. The placenta was wrapped in butcher paper, but nothing waterproof and was half thawed from a long car drive. She put it in my freezer where it used all over my food. I would want to say it made me speechless, but I would probably default to this. A guy we didn't know very well, a friend of a friend, came over to our house for dinner one night. He got quite drunk. Despite not knowing him very well, we offered that he stay the night at our place instead of driving home drunk. He refused, drove drunk and crashed his car. Then he tried to sue us for letting him drive home drunk. The guy was an a-hole. I hope to God you didn't have to spend your own time and money on his frivolous bullshit lawsuit. Letting him drive home drunk. What are they going to do to prevent him, an independent adult, from leaving their home? Commit a felony through unlawful imprisonment? Yeah, I doubt that case did very well. My son's girlfriend was having family problems and temporarily lived with us. Son GF was 17 at the time. She had no house manners whatsoever. She'd cook herself meals and leave food and dishes everywhere, expecting us to clean after her, leave her dirty clothes and stuff all over the house. She once borrowed my car without asking. Got so tired of it we asked her to leave. Leaving a mess is rude. Taking a car without permission is illegal. Jeez, the gall of her. Got so drunk they sh themselves on my couch and kept rooching around and smearing it. We never noticed till he got up to leave. Rooching. I'm not sure if that's a real word or a typo or what, but it works perfectly. This kid who was a friend at the time came over for a birthday party. We were around 13 and he ate a strawberry, except the top of it. Then he smushed it into our white carpet and left it there. We were watching, like he just did it like it was a normal act. My parents still call him Strawberry Boy. Your parents had kids and a white carpet? That combination scares me. I don't remember who the guy was because it happened when I was a kid, but there was this guy who was in his early 20s. He was in the kitchen with one of the kitchen knives and just throwing it into the floor so it would get stuck and pulling it out and doing it again. What a monster. Reminds me of a story of a friend. He accidentally dropped a knife. Knife bounced off the ground and got stuck in his foot. He did a trick shot. My mom used to reorganize my kitchen cabinets whenever she would visit because she disagreed with my organizational system. Have you tried sitting down with her and calling her a cunt? Passive-aggressive mama. I asked them both to leave and never saw her again. Fixed it. When I was 12, a family friend grabbed my DS and deleted the save of one of my Pokemon games. Priceless. Lived in a house with 2 people at uni a couple of years ago. Didn't know them before I moved in with them. One of them invited 2 of her friends to come and stay with us. Went to go and use our shared bathroom and there were about 3 used sanitary pads casually left open draped on our sink. Despite the fact that we had been in the bathroom for them. Cleaned it up once and went back in the next morning and there were more. Never been so disgusted in my life. Yeah, no, I'd have had a shouting fit. I wouldn't care who I woke up or whatever else. Everyone would be brought to that bathroom to see what had happened and the guilty one would have had to clean it up right then in front of everyone. Then I would insist that they leave immediately. Trashy A people can get the F out of here with that nonsense. They were house sitting for my family while we were out of town. We let them stay at our house and sleep in my parents' room. When we returned home, our house was a disaster. The kitchen was filthy, and their daughter's toys were scattered all over the house. One of their few tasks was to water our plants. They were all dead when we came home. Worst of all, they were told not to come into my room, where I have a valuable collection of old toys. Of course, they let their daughter into my room and play with them. Some stuff was damaged. That was the last time we let them watch the house. Next time we went out of town, a good friend of mine was given the job instead. She did a much better job. What a sheet heel. For a while my partner and I would go to house sitters for friends and friends of family because we're good with pets and generally are pretty clean. You definitely leave the house cleaner than when you arrived, especially if you're being paid. A friend of my dad lost his house, and we had a former B&B, so we invited them to stay with us. We housed and fed them for weeks while they found another place. For that, we got roaches. Criticisms of our food. My dad was the executive chef at a freaking country club and was a damned fine cook. But that wasn't the worst for me. Then in my late teens, the day they left, I went to play my favorite game on PlayStation, Sledstorm. Couldn't find it. Overturned freaking everything. But I couldn't find it. In searching, I noticed something even worse. My SNES, all games, and half my N64 games were missing in addition to Sledstorm. They had stayed with us as a favor and stolen half my sheet that I had paid for with birthday money saved up over years. F those people. Did you manage to get the games back? My Mill likes to volunteer to show new guests around during big events like birthdays or Christmas, and without fail she will find the worst part of my home. Usually whatever room has a closed door that's out of the way, and will make them stand in there and have a conversation. You know, the bedroom that's a mess because you threw everything in it, the back room of the basement past the laundry room used for disorganized storage. It only took 8 years for my husband to catch on that. Yeah, it happens every time. It's not the worst she's done, but it is the most head-scratchingly petty. Drank all of my booze without asking my permission. These were guests of my roommates, and I was already asleep at the time because I basically had 14-hour days for a job I hated at the time. 10-hour shift, 2-hour commute each way, and was still broke as sh. That booze was mine, and those FAs drank it all like they owned the goddamn place. Never even offered to replace it, either. That's a death sentence lol. My sister's friends went into the back of my apartment while I was throwing a party there, and as they went I saw them get some tinfoil out. I live in a doggy area and know exactly what that means, so I marched right after them and told them that that's not happening under my roof or anywhere in the apartment block. There's only 4 in my building and a family with kids lives downstairs. They understood but left shortly after, all but that. It is insane to me that they thought I would just be okay with them smoking meth indoors in my apartment without asking as well. That sheet smells worse than the dude's couch whose friend rubbed his athlete's feet all over the cushions. While not necessarily rude, it really did bother me, and I'm not sure this is the right crowd who would understand. But I don't like clutter. It stresses me out. At the time it was just my husband, our toddler and me. I kept a very simple kitchen. But a family member came over and said my cupboards were too bare, and proceeded to fill my cupboards to the rim with dollar store dishes, cups, plates, etc. that she went out and bought. I don't like clutter to the extent that I hate getting gifts that aren't useful. Socks, cash, or books, or small sentimental items like cards or photos. Having someone go out and buy space wasting trash for me would be infuriating. Had a friend who had horribly stanky athlete's foot feet from using the showers at the dorms without shower shoes. All of the skin on his soles and between his toes was gone. His feet were all red and shiny with new, thin skin. I invited him over to watch movies. It was me and like 5 other guys. We watched horror movies, drank beers and ate snacks. At some point, he took his shoes off. None of us said anything, but the smell permeated the entire 5-room apartment. Living room, kitchen, 2 bedrooms, bathroom and laundry room. Within mere minutes, it was very quiet. We gave the couch to him completely by himself. No great loss. The thing was from the 70s and that old scratchy Herculean fabric. Important point. Around 2 AM my girlfriend showed up and ordered my friend to put his shoes back on. The smell was in the house 2 days later. I sniffed around after 2 days of airing out and Febreze and candles did nothing. I smelled the couch cushions. He had rubbed his feet into the fabric of at least 2 cushions. I guess the scratchy fabric felt really awesome on his feet that were on fire with the itch. This grosses me out more than the poop covered bathroom. Dude insisted I go into the other room to breastfeed my baby in my own house. Yeah, this is my house, you can go ahead and leave, dude. You should have smacked him in the head with your boob. Pissed in my cat's litter box at a party we had. Turned the whole box into one solid chunk. It was a friend of mine actually. He was really drunk, but I'm sure he did it on purpose. Didn't notice either until our cats pooped or peed elsewhere in the house. We're not friends anymore. Sorry, but the idea of a single kitty litter boulder is too damn funny. Guess if he's going to piss somewhere random, it's good it was the litter box and not just like in the corner. My 3rd grade friend tried to set my shower curtains on fire for no reason. Ever look them up to see where they are today? This happened recently during the conditional period after we sold our house. One of the conditions was that the buyers could arrange 2 visits before the closing date. It was a young couple, and there was less than 3 weeks between the time we sold and the closing date. Anyways, they booked a viewing date about a week into the conditional period, and brought like 20 people with them to see the house. Not really a big deal. They were excited and wanted to show their family their new house. I totally understood. What I didn't understand is why they felt the need to bring their dog with them. Knowing full well that I had 2 cats, it was in the realtor notes, and they had seen the cats on their previous viewing when they bought the house. In fact, the young man told my realtor our tortie reminded him of his childhood cat, so there's no way they didn't know we had at least 1 cat in the house, and they brought in a strange dog to what was still our home for 2 more weeks. If that wasn't bad enough, they let the dog piss on the hardwood floor in my house for 2 more weeks. My husband immediately called our realtor, who confronted the buyer's realtor. Not only was the buyer's realtor present at this visit, she was also the buyer's sister. She tried to deny everything until our realtor informed her that we had everything recorded, and he could send both her and the realtor board a copy of the footage. She told our realtor to please apologize to the owners, us, and that was the last we heard. They never booked a second viewing. My husband and I were absolutely livid, and our realtor said in all the years he's been doing this, he's never had a buyer bring a pet to a viewing, let alone allow it to piss on the floor. Unbelievable. That is 100% pure trash, people. I had a viewer at one of my listings bring all 15 people in their family. Snoopy person lifted the top of a chest that had a glass top to protect it. It shattered everywhere. Made them pay for it all. Always assume you are under video surveillance. Had a friend over and she didn't want to sleep on the couch. Okay, fine. I'll set up one of the brand new fancy expensive cots for you and put blankets and a comforter on it so you're cozy. She complained all night long about how uncomfortable it was. Okay, well, you didn't want the couch. So tough. Can I sleep in your bed with you? My twin Fenning bed? No, absolutely not. That's unfair. Fenning, stop, I told you no. She proceeded to ignore me and screw up my sheets and Fenning climbing with me, but oppositely so her Fenning feet are in my face. She left early the next day. She also opened a new box of wheat thins and ate the entire box, and when I grabbed for some she would pull it away from me. So, I'm really confused as to what age this happened. Could be children, but at the same time it could be people in their 20s. My brother's girlfriend had made a Christmas wreath for my home. When she arrived, she took the wreath I had on my door and threw it down the hallway and put one up that she had made, which was seriously ugly, by the way. My jaw dropped. I seriously could not believe she threw my wreath down the hallway right in front of me. The following day I threw her wreath in the garbage. Hilarious. My grandfather's cousin was staying with us for a week. He has a bladder problem and would refuse to wear adult diapers. What followed was him leaving a trail of pee, sometimes poo, when he walked around the house. Didn't take too long for my mother to ask his son to take him back home. Let a dude from college crash on my couch while he was in town for a dance thing. I don't know why or how, but he took the spares of toothpaste and deodorant we kept under the sink. Guess he needed them. Stay over at his house, take the jewelry, and then open talks for a trade. Slept with my wife. I complete forgot visitor was implied and for 10 seconds was wondering why is this guy in middle of all this is saying he slept with his wife.